What if Goku had a brother who fought with intelligence? So let's get started. Decades ago, a pod crashed into the misty mountainside of Mount Paozu. In another time line there would be one baby sat inside crying their eyes out alone in the wilderness, in another was a father clutching onto his child, but this one had two babies sleeping inside to be found by a her. Mythic old man named Gohan who took them in and raised them as his own grandchildren. Once he died, however, the two young brothers known as Goku and Genma fended for themselves up until the point that a girl named Bulma came into their lives. She befriended them and got them caught up in adventures for 7 mystical orbs known as the Dragon Balls, being trained by the famous martial artist Roshi, and even defeating an ancient evil known as the Demon King Piccolo. However, time never slowed down for either brother as they got older. They both trained themselves daily, but once they grew into adulthood, they went their separate ways. Goku married Chi-Chi and had Gohan, while Genma, who had the brains of the two, decided to throw himself into becoming a teacher for the past 5 years while keeping up his training set by Master Roshi. However, on the day that everyone would reunite to see each other after so long would be heralded by a ship crashing in a nearby farm, leaving a visitor from outer Spock to search across the continents for someone by the name of Kakarot. Meanwhile, at Kame House, an airship with capsule core emblazoned on the side had been parked on a small island with a single house belonging to the greatest martial artist in the world and also the world's most powerful pervert, Master Roshi. "Hey Krillin, how's it going?" A blue-haired woman cheerfully waved at him. "It's really great to catch up again, Bulma. I don't think any of us got together like this for years." Krillin greeted as he saw Bulma stepping through the threshold and grabbing a nearby drink. "Yeah, Hink, the last time we all got together besides the world tournament was back when Goku got married." Bulma explained as she took a seat on the couch. "I mean, it makes sense. Everyone got real busy around that time. Goku's gotten hitched, so I'm sure Chi-Chi's got him pretty busy. You went back to training with Roshi. Other than that, I've been helping Dad out at the workshop, and last I heard from Genma he had taken up to a college in West City." "Oh yeah, that's right. What happened with him anyway?" "All I remember was that he said he wanted to become a teacher." Krillin would ask as he balanced a gift on his finger. "Yeah, he said that he enjoyed fighting in the tournament, but he also wanted to try getting a job to better fit in with city life, don't want to stay a yokel in the mountains forever. Was what he told me, so naturally I put a good word in for him to apply for a college, on the condition that I put him through a crash course on higher learning to make sure he didn't flunk." Bull. Ma elaborated to Krillin and Roshi, who was coming downstairs. "Hey, Gohan taught him and Goku the basics, and I thought I did pretty well with teaching you three when you came to train." Roshi would humble, though he seemed to perk up when he saw that there was a lady present in his house. "Roshi, those two learned how to read and write with you. But I doubt you taught them anything outside of how to find the right woman to peep on." Bulma rolled her eyes. "Plus it was nice to be able to do something for Genma when he and Goku helped me get the Dragon Balls." She would smile a little to herself. "And the fact those two helped save you from Pilaf and General Blue and the Carrot Master." Krillin would tease her with a smug look on his face, earning him a pillow to the face. "That too," she would snap. "Besides, that first one was an accident," Bulma admitted as she remembered the time Goku and Genma had a full-on kaiju battle after the two turned into giant monkeys from staring at the moon. "Still, you do have to take credit. If it wasn't for you, Bulma, those two would still be living in the mountains." Roshi said to cheer up Bulma. "Besides, they should be here soon anyway." A loud whoosh was heard as two figures floated down and landed. This was Goku and Genma. Goku was climbing off of the Nimbus cloud while holding on to a small child, and it looked like Genma had just come from a class. The two stood around the same height and they had a similar look, but that was where the similarities ended. Genma had messy black hair tied in a ponytail and was wearing a white button-up shirt with black pants and dress shoes. "We're here," Goku would say as the others came out to greet the pair. He would wave at everyone who seemed more surprised that Goku had a kid with him. Goku, you never told us you started babysitting. I knew Chi-Chi wanted you to get a job, but I didn't think this was the kind of thing you had in mind." Krillin remarked as he noticed that Genma was probable. Why, the only one outside of Goku who didn't look surprised. In fact, it looked like Genma was barely holding in his excitement. No, it's not that. This is actually my son. His name's Gohan." Goku would plainly say and smiled a little as he let Gohan down to the ground so he could get his walking legs back. He looks so cute," Bulma would say as she leaned down to Gohan. "Hey there, we're your dad's friends. I'm Bulma, that's Krillin, and that's Roshi." Bulma explained sweetly as she began to introduce the shy young boy to everyone, including Turtle. Still, this is rather surprising. I knew you had grown up, but this incredible. I'm sure your grandpa Gohan would be proud of you. Actually, he'd be proud of both of you, for Goku becoming a father and for Genma improving himself beyond martial arts. Roshi would praise the two with a joyful glint from his glasses. I'm an uncle. I'm an uncle. Genma finally let it loose with a wide and excited grin on his face while Krillin watched him in amusement as he danced around the island happily. So, speaking of which, when are you going to have Gohan start his training? Krillin asked Goku curiously, and Genma calmed himself down to listen in. I know he's still little, but he wasn't that much older than we were when we started training with Master Roshi. Actually, Gohan didn't want to. He said that he wanted grow up and become a Sholia. Goku would try and explain but fumbled the words a little. I think Goku means that Gohan wants to be a scholar when he grows up. Goku told me along the way here that he's gonna start studying, and Chi-Chi was wholly on board. Genma did his best to elaborate for Goku. Well, it's certainly different, but you can't really fault the kid if he doesn't want to be like his father and uncle. Krillin shrugged as Bulma carried Gohan over. By the way, why does Gohan have a Dragon Ball on his hat? Bulma would ask Goku as she noticed the shimmer in the light. Isn't that kind of dangerous, considering the people who know what they are? Well, you're the only one with the radar to find them, and we've beaten most of everyone who does know about them. Pilaf's not going to try anything. Down. The Red Ribbon Army have been taken down. Goku rattled off some of their opponents from the past. Most of the we took out the main base, but General Blue did say there were many bases around He world, so I wouldn't count them. Genma added to it but stopped partway through as he felt a pit in his stomach. He could feel a presence coming towards the island. It was faint at first, but it as quickly picking up speed and its intensity. Genma, you okay? Bulma asked as she noticed Genma quickly turn defensive, yet Goku still looked unfazed. Goku, you two did beat Piccolo, right? He shouldn't be coming back. Yeah, he flew off after the tournament. He said he'd be back, but I'm sure we see. Goku would shrug it off before he too felt the presence coming towards them. You know where it's coming from, Genma? You were always better at sensing, Goku would ask his brother. In terms of their abilities, Goku was the veritable powerhouse of the two, but Genma had always been the re-honed technique, being able to better sense energy and better handle his ki to make up for his weaker power. I don't know, but whatever or whoever it is, it's strong, Genma would say, but before the two could get Gohan and Bulma inside, their threat landed in front of them. Raditz. So, this is where you were hiding all this time, Kaka? What? The taller man would say as he eyeballed both Goku and Genma. Parsna. So you landed here too? I thought it was all on Kakarot for not conquering this planet in time. But if the two of you were here for all this time and couldn't, then either this planet is stronger than we thought, or you two are just incompetent. Raditz would snap at the two. Who exactly are you, and why do you think you know us? Goku would ask him, both Genma and Goku getting into a defensive stance out of reflex. Wait, you seriously don't know who I am? Did you forget about your mission? Your purpose here on this backwater planet? How could you forget? Raditz inquired with a growing look of annoyance. If you think playing dumb with your brother is funny, then I will need to slap some sense into that head of yours. He would growl as he stared the two of them down. Brother. The others looked at Raditz in confusion while it looked like the Sun brothers were being thrown for a loop. What are you talking about? I already have a brother and he's right there. Goku defended. And I don't know anything about some mission, but if you're looking for a fight then you need to back off. He would warn. Yeah, besides it sounds like you've got the wrong people. His name isn't Kakarot and I'm not Parsna. We are Son Genma and Son Goku. We're from Earth, and if you're looking for these people then they're not here, so go bother someone else. Genma would add as even. Though he was somewhat caught up with training, he wasn't going to take chances with a fight. You must have gotten hit in the head a lot, the both of you. Fine, I'll explain it to you. You two are a lot like me. We are part of a warrior race called the Saiyans, and I am referring to you two by your heritage, and it's been decades, but I definitely know you are my brother. Kakarot, you are the spitting image of our father. Raditz explained to the two of them. Goku looked confused by what Raditz was saying while Genma was still trying to process that he is an alien. I don't know what you're trying to pull, but I don't know about anything called the Saiyans. There's no such thing. Genma would protest at Raditz. We both grew up on Earth since we were kids. That's because our planet and our species no longer exist. A meteor wiped out our planet and killed all but a few of our kind, and I should warn you, the two who know I'm here are infinitely stronger than I am. He would gloat to the two. So then why are you here exactly? Goku asked apprehensively. His whole existence being questioned was putting him on edge, and he certainly wasn't going to let someone mess him or Genma around. If you want answers, then why don't the both of you join us? We could use the extra help, and we can start by enslaving this worthless planet, selling it piece by piece. Think about it, you could become conquerors, warlords of the Saiyan race, and we can prove our worth once and for all. Raditz scouted the two, who seemed to become more adamant when they realized what he was about. There's no way that we're ever going to agree to a plan like that, so take a hike. Goku would refuse his offer, with Genma joining him. A shame. But look at that, I never realized that you procreated on this planet too. Raditz said mockingly, smirking when he saw Gohan in Bulma's arms behind the two and started walking towards him. Both brothers moved in tandem defensively to get in front of Gohan. I'm giving you one last chance, back off or I'll knock your teeth out. Goku growled as he went into Papa Wolf mode. If you even think about putting your hands on my nephew, then I'll send you flying. Genma would add his own threat as they watched Raditz tap the device attached to his head. Kakarot, power level of 334. Parsna, power level of 280. HMPH, not even worth the challenge. Raditz would think to himself. And scoff as he continued his strut towards Gohan, before delivering two swift strikes at the duo, a swing of his elbow hitting Genma square in the face and knocking him to the floor with a spray of blood from his nose, while a knee sent Goku flying onto his back. Raditz snatched Gohan out of a petrified Bulma's arms and began to hover in the air. If you want this child of yours back, then come find me within 24 hours, or I can't guarantee I'll stay on this planet for long, and if you change your mind about joining me, then bring about 100 dead humans each to my location to prove your loyalty. Raditz offered the choice before rocketing into the air and taking the crying Gohan with him. Daddy, Uncle Genma, was all that the two could hear as Gohan and Raditz vanished into the clouds, ishing out of sight until Genma and Goku couldn't feel their ki anymore. Damn it, Goku would wheeze as he caught his breath and rolled onto his knees to steady himself, still trying to cope with the literal onslaught of information surrounding him and Genma. Bulma went to help Goku up while Krillin and Roshi got Genma to his feet. That was unreal. Goku muttered to himself as he realized the kind of distance that Raditz had over them. Now this is just sad. A new voice was heard from the air as Goku and Genma's old enemy from their past came into view, the being who both swore vengeance against them and threatened to come back with the intent to wholly kill them, and the one who begrudgingly helped them stop Garlic Jr. Piccolo. Genma wiped the blood from his nose as he narrowed his eyes at the sight of the big, green man. And you're still impeccable with timing. He snarked back at Piccolo as he watched curiously for any attempt on them both. What exactly do you want? Piccolo, in case you haven't noticed, we're dealing with something more important than your petty grudge. You're more arrogant than last time if you think that I'm here solely for you and that half-wit brother of yours. Piccolo sniped. I was following that guy's energy here and just missed him. I don't suppose you know where he got to? He asked, though considering the state that Genma and Goku were in, answered that all for him. He stole my son. And I'm gonna get him back. Somehow. If you're looking for that guy too, then why don't we team up? Goku would ask, shocking not just Piccolo but everyone else on the island. Goku, you can't really be serious. This guy swore he'd kill us the first chance he'd get. Krillin pointed out to Goku. Even though he was absolutely right, Piccolo simply shrugged his shoulders like it was nothing. Don't forget, he still helped us with taking on Garlic Jr. and helped Kami. Goku pointed out as he remembered that Piccolo showed up around the time that the small immortal was ready to get payback against Kami. Look, you guys can discuss this later. Right now Gohan needs his dad and uncle to save him. Bulma would remind the arguing trio as Goku climbed on Nimbus while Piccolo started to fly off. Genma meanwhile pulled out a capsule from his shirt pocket and ran into the house briefly. There was a loud "Pomp" and the sound of rustling clothes from behind one of the locked doors. When Genma came back out, he was dressed for a fight. He wore a combat gi similar to Goku's, however this one was a deep red and had the turtle school emblem on the left breast. He had a black belt tied around his waist with similar wristbands and had just tied the blue boots on. Man, that really brings back memories from the tournament. How long exactly were you holding on to that gi? Roshi would ask as he watched Genma run out to the beach. It's a comfortable suit. Plus I use it to keep up my training in Mount Paozu when I wasn't studying. Genma explained with his usual smile, but then became serious. I really don't want to have to do this, but stay here for a little where it's safe. If this Raditz guy was strong enough to tag me and Goku like that, Then it'd be dangerous if you were around, especially since he figured out you guys are close with us. Don't count me out. Sure, I might not be as strong as you two, but I can still put up a good fight. Krillin protested, annoyed at being sidelined but softened a little when he noticed Genma's expression become sad. Think about it, Krillin. You and Master Roshi already died once because of King Piccolo and his minions. If it happens again during this fight, then Shenron can't bring you two back. Genma retorted, watching Krillin die at the tournament because of Tambourine still hurt him even now, and he would have been an idiot if he let it happen again. I hate to admit it, Krillin, but Genma does make a good point. Just utilize your training and work to your strengths, Genma. Remember what I taught you? Roshi would ask. If you can't overpower your opponent, then outsmart them. I got it, Genma would say, giving the others a smile. I'll bring Goku and Gohan back, don't you guys worry. He promised before flying off into the sky at a rapid pace to catch up with Piccolo and Goku. Good luck you two. And try to be safe. Bulma would think to herself before remembering that she still had her capsules. There was a tense silence in the air, once Genma had caught up. So Goku, if you've got any new moves or tricks up your sleeve for this, now would be a good time to use it. Don't bother, he's got nothing. I on the other hand have something of worth to use against this guy. I was honestly saving it to use on the both of you, but this will work well as a test. Piccolo would chide, and as the three of them flew together while following Raditz's energy signature. I've got a thing or two, but don't think that this team up means that anything's changed. Genma would warn Piccolo, Goku might be willing to trust you on this, but I'm not, Genma remarked with a glowering stare. Hey, you know, if you were stronger, that might actually make me worry a little. Piccolo mocked him. They were muting their power levels for now until they could get close enough to Raditz, but Piccolo wasn't blind to the fact that while Goku could beat him, Genma still had enough potential power and skill to fight Piccolo to a stalemate. Meanwhile, at Raditz's ship, Raditz had thrown Gohan into the confines of his pod to stifle the sounds of the child's incessant crying while he waited for the two to show up. Whether it was to change their minds about joining him or fight back, he felt confident that he could take them considering what he read on his scouter. So which will it be, submission or defiance? Kakarot could be a good use as a patsy for when Vegeta and Nappa get back into contact. Parsna on the other hand could have potential as a scout, or at the very least a human shield. Raditz mused while watching the clouds roll by before he heard the sounds of the scouter warning him of his foe's approach. Looks like it's time to find out, he would say as he watched Goku flipping out of a cloud and landing between Genma and Piccolo. So, you've finally arrived. I'm guessing you've made your decisions? Raditz asked with a superior look on his face, scanning the two other Saiyans for any signs of a weakness. Where's Gohan? Genma would say, narrowing his eyes at the taller Saiyan. I'm giving you one chance to hand him back over or we're going to take him back. Raising an eyebrow at the sudden show of bravado, Raditz laughed a little before fully breaking into loud and raucous laughter in their faces. Oh, I'm sorry, but you sound so delusional that you think you'll be walking away from this alive. In case you've forgotten, I knocked you both on your ass faster than you even blinked. He mentioned with a smirk before watching in curiosity as he saw Goku, Genma and Piccolo start stripping down their weighted clothing. Goku threw off his GI top and undershirt along with his boots, Piccolo discarded his turban and his cape while Genma stripped off his weighted undershirt and his wristbands. The scouter on Raditz's head beeped as it picked up their new readings on his opponent. Kakarot, power level of 416. Piccolo, power level of 408. Parsna, power level of 400. I see, so that clothing hid your true potential, though it's still nothing impressive against the great Raditz. Raditz would gloat as all three got into position for a fight. Goku looked to Genma and Piccolo with a wordless agreement before rushing forward in a flash of speed. Goku sprang into the air with a spin kick downwards while Genma swiped low to kick upwards at Raditz's head. Piccolo took the central approach, thinking that the Saiyan would be too distracted trying to fight off the brothers to block the flying knee that he was attempting. Raditz managed to use an upward block and a low block to stop Goku and Genma's assault, and with a lazy swing of his leg, he managed to swipe away at Piccolo's attack, sending the knee strike into Goku's stomach and pushing off of the other two simultaneously. Honestly, you are such a disgrace, Kakarot, to me and to the Saiyans. Where the hell is your pride? Siding with a weakling like Parsna and a Namekian, Raditz continued to berate Goku as both Genma and his brother started getting to their feet. I keep telling you, my name is Goku, and as far as I'm concerned, Genma is my brother. Not you. Goku would fight back as Genma rushed up to attack Raditz once more. Genma realized that blindly rushing Raditz was never going to work. He had to be smart. With a quick swipe upwards at Raditz's head, he pushed himself low and used both of his own legs to try tripping Raditz. However, it looked like Raditz had anticipated it as he ducked away from the swipe and used a ki blast to knock Genma backwards. Here, I thought you were smart. Turns out you're just as idiotic as he is. Raditz snipped away at Genma as he saw Goku and Piccolo rush in for a joint assault. Damn it. Even without our weighted gear, it's no use. If a straightforward attack isn't going to work, then maybe. Wait, that's it. Genma mused to himself as he charged up a ball of energy that grew to the size of his torso but then wavered and shrank itself back down again to the size of a baseball. Alright. Now or never, fastball special. Genma reared his hand up with the energy ball that crackled in his hand before getting into a pitcher's stance and lobbing the energy ball towards Raditz's chest. Raditz quickly knocked Piccolo aside with a wide kick and then delivered a hammer blow straight down on Goku's head, sending the two careening into the dirt, worthless. I think'll start WI. Raditz started to gloat but then heard the high-pitched whine of energy heading towards him. Raditz turned and was ready to defend but he saw a small energy ball zooming towards him and laughed condescendingly as he waited for it to get close enough to bat it away. Genma smirked however as he aimed towards Raditz. Gotcha. He would say quietly as he made a flicking gesture with his two pointer fingers. The orb quickly shot forward like a bullet with a blinding speed. Raditz could barely track it as his hand moved too slowly to deflect the energy ball and as a result it dug itself into Raditz. The bad news was that the Saiyan had stumbled with surprise and it ended up hitting a non-vital spot in his abdomen, but the good news came in the form of seeing a furry ended shake as Raditz staggered backward in pain. That one actually hurt a little. I think I'll start with you if you're just going to keep hitting me with pot shots like a space bee. Raditz yelled at Genma. The hell's a space bee? Genma would have a thought before Raditz immediately closed the gap between them and then slammed his fist deep into Genma's abdomen, knocking out every square inch of air from the less powerful Sun Brother and making him hit the floor with a less than ceremonious wheeze for air. You know, I actually thought you were smarter than this, Parsna. A more Rationa. Weakling would have turned tail, but you still have that Saiyan instinct to desire a fight, but that is all that links you with my brother. Raditz would comment and snark as he pressed his boot down on Genma's chest. You keep calling Kakarot your brother, but you have no idea what kind of delusion that you are stuck in. The only thing that makes the two of you related is the fact that you were born on the same day and kept in the same batch of incubation pods. Raditz sneered. His sadistic side really wanted to twist the knife more while Genma was down. It doesn't matter what you think. Because I've got Goku's back just like he's got mine. Genma retorted with a voice made hoarse by the sudden lurch of air, smirking up at Raditz, which is more than I can say for some heartless bastard like you. Raditz was about to aim a ki blast right at Genma's head, but he was suddenly bounced off of him as Piccolo and Goku landed a direct flying kick into his back. Genma, you okay? Goku would ask as Genma staggered to his feet, holding a thumbs up as he did. Why yeah, I'm good. This got the blood pumping more than my usual training. Genma joked as he looked to Goku. Besides, I have a plan. If he's anything like us, then that wrap around his waist is his tail. If we can grab it and give it a good squeeze, then we can catch him off long enough to land a good hit on him, he explained. I don't suppose you have anything good for that, do you? Goku asked him quizzically. Because I can grab it, but I don't think I've got any new techniques. I've got something, Piccolo would mention as he watched Raditz get up. In all honesty, I was going to save it for later. But I don't suppose I have much of a choice in the matter. If you two can distract him for long enough, then I should be able to get him. That's not exactly good. But fine, if you think it can work, then me and Genma can buy you some time. Goku would agree as he looked to Genma before focusing his stance. You ready? Genma got into his stance as well before sighing deeply. I'm not happy about putting faith in Piccolo, but sure. Let's do this, he would admit as the two rushed off towards Raditz, who was getting more annoyed at their persistence while Piccolo began to focus his energy for his newest move. This brat better be worth it if I have to put up with you two, Raditz would say, but blinked in surprise. When he watched Goku and Genma move fluidly around each other, Genma went for a low leg sweep as Goku used his shoulders as a springboard to deliver a double-footed kick straight towards Raditz's face. Blocking Goku's high kick meant that he stumbled on his back foot a little from Genma's low kick. Raditz then decided to swing his leg up to try kicking them both. Goku ended up taking the brunt of the kick as Genma pushed upwards from the floor to headbutt Raditz in the chest, making the stronger Saiyan grunt in pain while Goku took the chance to leap upwards into the air and brought his hands together for an all too familiar technique. Kame, he would start the chant as energy built up between his hands. Genma on the other hand had a separate idea. It wasn't a strong move but all he had to do was catch him with it and it'd stop him long enough. Alright, focus it. Remember to let it flow through you. Genma thought back as he lowered both hands down to his sides and closed his eyes in focus. The core of his ki began to crackle and form as the palms of his hands started to spark with ki. When he formed his fingers into a claw shape, he made the sparks form and spiral in his hands quicker and more erratically before he finally had 2 full hands of what looked to be a shining blue lightning before thrusting them outwards. Menkoku Kyoutensshou, roared Genma as he released a shroud of blue lightning towards Raditz. Hami. Goku was still charging up as the ball of energy in his hands was growing bigger and bigger. Between watching Goku jumping in the air and trying to keep a watchful eye on Piccolo, Raditz was not ready for the blast of lightning hitting him with a blinding flash. The sensation of his body stinging all over was bad enough, but Raditz also had the realization that his body wasn't responding to him as well as it could. The beeping on his scouter alerted him that Goku's power was starting to rise higher and higher. Hold on. 615,740,924. Come on, move, move. Raditz would realize the threat considering that his own power was at 1,500 and while not life-ending it would be bad if he got hit dead on. Raditz decided to rear his own hands back. Shaking with the feeling of electricity through his body and moving abysmally slow, he gathered red balls of ki in his hands before thrusting one up at Goku and another at Genma. Double Sunday. Raditz screamed out as he threw all his strength to not just push the crippling hold off of him but also to stop Goku from injuring him. Ha! Goku knew this was the only chance he had. And thrust both hands forward with a heavy boom as the Kamehameha rocketed down towards Raditz, causing the 2 beams to connect with each other for the briefest of moments, but Raditz's blast seemed to hold it back momentarily as the second beam cracked through the lightning and hit Genma dead on and sent him flying into a nearby rock. Genma! Goku screamed out, but his quick lapse in judgment let Raditz shake off the paralysis and push harder against Goku, letting the full brunt of the blast dissipate Goku's last resort and hit him square on before grounding him for good. Raditz, however, started to manically laugh as he felt the high of dodging a potential bullet as he sauntered over to Goku and kicked him in the side. I have to admit, Kakarot, you scared me for a second, but it looks like that last hurrah of yours failed even with Karsna helping you there. Too bad that blast probably blew him to pieces. He would gloat as he glared down at Goku. Damn it, this is bad. If neither of those idiots can hold him off, then there's no way that I can fire this off. He hasn't noticed me yet, so perhaps this could be the right chance. Piccolo was grimacing as he realized how strong Raditz was, and with his energy now fully charged, he was ready. Raditz was ready to start stomping down on Goku when he heard the scouter blip again and alerted him to Piccolo. Hold on, that's what he's place. Anning and his power level rising still. 330. I'm not staying for WH Goo. Raditz was more than ready to move, but a sudden jolt froze his body in place. He looked down and saw a badly beaten up Goku clenching onto Raditz's tail as tight as he could. Hee, don't count me out yet. Piccolo, hit him now. Goku yelled out as Piccolo smirked. Makenko Sapo. Piccolo yelled out as he shot his hand forward, his 2 pointer fingers aiming directly at Raditz's chest. Raditz was frozen in place and the pressure held on his tail stopped him from flying away or making Goku stop. However, Goku was quickly losing grip as well, and it inevitably loosened on Raditz. With a quick tug of his tail out of Goku's hands, Raditz tried to dodge out of the way, but the spiraling beam of death was too quick. And managed to still hit him square in the shoulder, breaking off his shoulder pad and shaving off part of his arm too. End number. Piccolo would pant as the energy quickly left him, and Raditz was all eager to not let this happen again as he flew forward and delivered a big boot straight to Piccolo's face. You're all full of surprises, but I must admit, this novelty is wearing thin, Raditz would mutter as he gazed down at the fallen Piccolo. Namekian or not, you still remain an annoyance. Raditz would say, ready to finish him off. Stop it, stop beating up my daddy and uncle. Was on. Thing that Raditz would hear before he felt his stomach explode and propel him backward, said cause was Gohan after getting riled up enough to rocket through Raditz's pod. Can you fire off another one, Piccolo? Goku would ask, still in shock from Gohan's outburst, prompting a nod from the Namekian, and started to charge up again. We need to make it work this time, a weaker voice could be heard as Genma staggered back into the fray. Taking that blast without moving had damaged him a lot. The entire top half of his clothing had been burned away and his body was covered in wounds, burns, and dirt, not counting the internal injuries from hitting solid rock. Goku, I can help hold him off, but I think we're all running on empty right now. I'm done. I'm not going to mess around anymore. Raditz would yell out to the three as he got himself to his feet and rushed forward to take out Gohan. Goku was able to jump in time and elbowed Raditz in the shoulder, causing him to yell out in pain, and Genma began to join in. The two kept trying to keep Raditz focused on them. Piccolo was pushing on all cylinders to make sure he could fire again, while holding on to the slim hope that the two could hold him back. Raditz, however, wasn't willing to test that as he returned the favor for Genma's headbutt by delivering a double chop to the smarter Saiyan's ribs, letting an audible crack. G.E.T. hurt and made Genma double over in blinding pain. Hee. Too bad you won't live to see me finish the others off, now die. Raditz roared as he reared a point-blank energy blast on Genma, but was taken out of it by getting caught in Goku's full Nelson. Piccolo decided to try something sudden and hoped it'd work. Without any warning or any care for the others, he fired off the Makenko once more, skewering both Raditz and Goku with flawless precision. Genma jolted himself awake as that sudden smash on his now broken ribcage made him black out briefly, though the sight when he woke up was no nice one. He saw Goku and Raditz hit the ground with two sets of holes in their chests. Goku! Genma cried out as he rushed over as quickly as he could to try helping his brother. Goku, hold on, I can rush to the tower and get some senzu beans. Genma assured Goku as he held on, but quickly felt his stomach tighten and burn like a fire pit when he heard Piccolo's malicious chuckling. It's done now. That Saiyan dirtbag is dead, and on the plus side, I took out the strongest in the process. It's a shame that you didn't get hit by this, but 50% isn't bad. Piccolo cruelly mocked Genma as the wounded son brother stood up and rounded on Piccolo to focus on him. You wanted this to happen. You bet on this happening. Didn't you? Genma yelled at Piccolo, struggling to form a cohesive thought out of the grief and anger he was feeling at the time. I should have known you would pull this. Genma lashed out in a shaky tone. You're letting yourself get too focused on this. With that Saiyan gone, you can still wish that brother of yours back with the Dragon Balls. Then again, you're going to be too busy trying to console his wailing brat to do that, aren't you? Piccolo sneered with every intent to push Genma further. If it wouldn't ruin the chances of that, I'd kill you right now. Genma would snarl darkly at Piccolo, but before the Namekian could retort, Genma felt his body gr. Ow, hot and then cold just as quickly as he felt something hit him. He glanced down and saw his injured body had a gaping hole in it too. He was going to say something, but he could only spit up blood as he fell to the ground with a dull thud. Raditz had his hand lifted up like a smoking gun and was chuckling to himself as he reveled in his last efforts. I may not have been able to kill you too, Namekian, but I can still take these two down with me to hell. Raditz taunted Piccolo in between his spits of blood, and I'm sure my comrades will be happy to hear about these Dragon Balls of yours. Raditz smirked as he started laughing weakly before Piccolo finally ended Raditz himself. Go, Gohan, Genma would rasp out as his vision grew blurry and weaker by the second, his body heaving with each wilting breath before he too left the mortal coil along with his brother. So what is this all about? It had better be important if you made me trek across miles of desert, flying across the sea to get to your hermit hole. I should honestly charge you an express fee for this, Roshi. On top of what I normally charge for clients. A short pink-haired old woman would grizzle at Roshi as shish. He was greeted on the beach of Kame House by the turtle hermit along with Bulma, Krillin and Yamcha. It had been a few days since the events of what happened with the two Sun brothers and with Raditz. That's the fun part, Baba. I'm asking on that favor that Genma has with you. Remember back when both he and Goku fought your champions for your help? Roshi retorted to his older sister, back when Goku and Genma were kids. Roshi showed them to the famous fortune teller Baba in order to find the Dragon Ball that was their grandpa Gohan's keepsake, since they had both won against her champions meant they could ask her for two favors. One was Goku's request to find the 4-star Dragon Ball, while Genma opted to store his request as a favor since he was looking for the 4-star ball too. I was hoping you would forget about that. Besides, that's not even your favor to cash in, it's that young man's. If he wants a favor then he can ask me for it. Baba relented. She had hoped Roshi and the RS would forget so she could charge them her usual extortionate fee, though her face seemed to slacken a little when she noticed the mood drop a little when she brought up Goku and Genma. That's why we've asked you here. Krillin decided to speak up, explaining to Baba about Goku and Genma being Saiyans. their death and the potential threat of more Saiyans coming for the Dragon Balls, we were hoping since you have the ability to speak to spirits that you could pass on the message to them and warn them before we use the Dragon Balls to wish them back. I see. It is a shame, they were nice boys after all. Baba sighed as she grabbed her crystal ball. Very well, I can pass on the message to the two of them. Just a moment, she said before vanishing. Meanwhile in the heavenly check-in station, Goku and Genma were both stumped, Genma more so as they had been taken to a giant reception area in the afterlife by the Guardian of Earth, Kamian staring up at King Yema, a giant red demon who judged who goes to heaven or hell. Needless to say, it was a shock for Goku and an existential nightmare for the educated Genma. So you must understand, Lord Yema, I want to put in a good word for both Son Goku and Son Genma who have tirelessly defended the world from each threat that came before. I see, Yema mumbled to himself as he placed a small pair of glasses on and leafed through a pocket book filled with a list of names coming through to the afterlife. Son Goku and Genma, no egregious sins, no acts of malice taken, and as far as what I can see, these two are more than welcome to enter our heaven, or if you wish then there is an alternative. Yema explained, though he and the other souls were surprised to see Baba pop in out of nowhere. Hold it right there, don't enter the light yet. Baba yelled as she looked to the numerous taller people around her. Oh, I see, we haven't got that far yet. Well, that's good because there's something I need to pass on. Goku and Genma were already well aware of the Saiyans coming to Earth, but the fact that they were arriving within the year made it clear that resting on their laurels in paradise would be the wrong thing to do. Lord Yema, sir. Genma decided to speak up awkwardly. Considering that these Saiyans are coming to Earth, I don't think it's the right idea to go to heaven yet. Then it's settled, I'll tell Roshi to start gathering the Dragon Balls. Baba clapped her hands together but was quickly stopped by Kami and by Yema. Well, I think I have an idea for you that might work. Yema would say as he then swept a large arm out towards the door. Out there on Snake Way leads to the greatest martial artist in the galaxy, King Kai. If you wish to train yourselves then you've certainly earned the right to. Kami then chimed in. So you two can go there and train yourselves as much as possible and then come back here in a year's time. I should be able to help you two bridge the gap back to the world of the living. I would then look to Baba, who was confused about this new plan. So I think if that's the right plan, then tell the others to hold off on wishing us back at least for the whole year anyway. Goku suggested with Kami giving an approving nod. But we need to give this our all. I'll be sure to tell the others, so don't you worry and consider this favor repaid. Baba remarked as she vanished from the check-in station. I should warn you though, running on Snake Way is no easy task, and if you fall off then you'll end up in HFIL. Yema warned the two. HFIL. Goku and Genma would both ask in confusion as Kami raised an eyebrow at this. Oh hell, I need to get these glasses checked. Yema would correct himself as he nudged open the doors into the expanse that was Snake Way and the rest of the afterlife. You just follow the path and then you'll find King Kai. Best of luck to you both. Genma and Goku then rushed off the edge and onto the giant stone snake to begin their long trek towards King Kai's planet. Each step filling them with more resolve to get back and save their friends. Back on Earth. They're not coming back, Bulma yelled as she grabbed onto Baba in desperation when the fortune-teller told them the news. Look, I gave them the message as you asked, but they said they're going to be doing some training over there, so I wouldn't worry so much. Baba repeated herself from before. If anything, you should worry about what you're going to do next, she would say before poking at Yamcha and Krillin's chests. I hate to be the one to say it, but Baba is right. If these Saiyans are anything like that one before, you'll need to train yourselves like crazy, Roshi mentioned as he watched Bulma tinkering with Raditz's broken scouter. Maybe you should visit Kami then, Baba suggested. He already knows about everything and he's not going to turn away the additional help, she pointed out before she vanished with the crystal ball. Do you think it was a good idea to know? Tell them about Gohan being with Piccolo? Bulma asked with concern. I know Piccolo's probably the strongest person around for now, but I still don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it'd make much of a difference, not to mention there's really nothing either of us can do right now. Krillin admitted. Yamcha, we should see if Tenshinhan and Xiaosu are willing to do this too. Sure, we can try, but we need to stop at Korin's anyway. Something tells me we're going to need more than a few senzu beans. Yamcha joked a little to a deadpan group before they decided to split off to do their own thing. A few months and a lot of running in the afterlife later, Goku would be helping to walk Genma the last few steps before they reached the tip of the tail on Snake Way. We made it. That's the planet? Goku asked as the two caught their breath. It might be small, but King Yama did say his planet was at the end. We should probably get a running start though. I don't think I can handle hell right now. Genma agreed as they took a mark a few feet back before breaking into a sprint, taking as big a leap as they could, clearing a good few feet and before they could touch the clue. DS below, the gravity set in as they were drawn in. We got it. Genma would cheer as he saw the ground closing in on them, but quickly turned to shock when he realized that they were getting faster. Wait. Whoa whoa. He would try to adjust himself to land properly, but just like Goku did, the pair landed flat on their faces into the grass below with the gravity holding them down. This is heavy. Goku strained himself to try getting up, being that extra part stronger seemed to pay off as he was able to get himself to his feet in half the time that Genma could. So this is King Kai's planet? It's not quite what I imagined. Goku commented as his brother was pushing himself off the ground. Genma however wasn't really paying attention as he was standing on shaky legs and trying his hardest to start walking. Yeah. Real weird, he half-heartedly said as he brought another foot down in front of him. What are you doing? Goku would ask as he was standing still, though it looked like he was struggling with maintaining balance. I'm walking. If this place has a more intense gravity, then we need to get used to being here. Genma explained with a good point. It's like that train that Master Roshi made us do with the shark. Start swimming and get used to the water or we cramp up. Goku nodded in response as he followed Genma's example by walking against the gravity at a snail's pace along the planet. If we think about it, this helps us train, Goku would say in an attempt to be optimistic. Goku were struggling to fight back against a planet. I think that's a step down for now. Genma grumbled as he then saw a monkey watching them from under a tree. Is that King Kai? Genma would ask. I know Yama said he would be here, but I never thought to ask for a photo. Goku would take that option up and started to hobble over towards the monkey. King Kai, my name is Goku and that's my brother Genma. We came here to train and prepare for the Saiyans. The monkey tilted its head before getting up and starting to trot along with very little effort. I think he wants us to follow his lead. Genma mused as he began to follow after the monkey with heavy steps. You sure that's the right idea? Goku would ask as he watched Genma trying to follow and keep up with the monkey. Goku, over the last few decades, we fought a man-sized rabbit who could turn people into carrots. A mini-immortal demon named Garlic Jr., Pilaf's giant robot, and we just talked to a giant red guy who judges souls in the afterlife. Would this really surprise you? Genm. Pointed out as he hopped from one foot to the other. That's actually a good point. Goku would say before starting to follow after Genma, the two brothers forming a conga line of a monkey and two grown men struggling to keep up. Genma would feel it slowly getting easier as he lifted his arms up to match the monkey's dancing, though it still felt like he was wearing heavy weights on his arms and legs. Oh okay. The monkey screeched as Goku and Genma decided to literally ape the ape as they began to and eek rhythmically in time with the monkey, unaware that they were being watched by someone from the nearby house. You know, I've heard of monkey see, monkey do, but I never thought it'd be contagious. The plump figure would joke as he walked over to the struggling duo. Goku eyed the new face curiously while Genma was feeling more than a little embarrassed that someone was watching them both. So, may I ask what the two of you are doing on my planet besides goofing around with bubbles? The newcomer would ask them and stared up at them. Wait, are you King Kai? Goku asked him in confusion as the blue person puffed up proudly, because we wanted to undergo training ND. We heard you were one of the best to learn martial arts from. That's indeed right, I am the most capable martial artist in this galaxy, though it is rather surprising, I never normally get guests. King Kai mentioned as he walked over and then straightened Genma up so he wouldn't fall over from the gravity. So why exactly do you want to learn? You two are dead and the next Otherworld tournament isn't for another few years or so. This time it was Genma who spoke up. I don't mean to sound impatient, but we are in a hurry and the guardian of our planet suggested you were the right person to teach us. He said before explaining to King Kai about everything regarding the Saiyans and their arrival on Earth. I see, though I am surprised that there are still Saiyans around. They were all whipped out years ago, but it doesn't really matter about history for now anyway. If the threat is so dire, then I'll train the both of you, but I expect you to put in all effort you can. Starting with getting used to the gravity on this planet. It's 10 times more intense than that of Earth and this can function like a good first step. King Kai instructed the two as they began their trek around the planet. Each step felt like their bodies would cave in and a slight stumble would knock them flat on their ass. Genma could feel his bones creak with each staggering walk towards another circuit of the planet. Goku was finally able to move without a struggle after 6 days of persistent exercising, with Genma soon catching up after about 14. The two were already adjusting to the gravity to the point where they could walk and move normally, easily catching up to the next test that was to chase and catch bubbles. Soon after multiple attempts at this, both Goku and Genma were spry and able enough to spry NT around the planet and catch the quick-moving bubbles. So now you've both gotten used to the gravity and caught bubbles. Now I can start to show you some of my most capable techniques, seeing as you two have capable ki reserves. It should be fairly simple. The first step in this will be. King Kai began to instruct the both of them. 2 days left until the Saiyans arrive. Genma was struggling on the last hurdle. Both he and Goku were able to complete the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb training. However, Genma was able to utilize both of them faster than Goku was, but the problem with Genma's SP Spirit Bomb was that it was nowhere near as strong as Goku's. Where Goku could completely destroy the brick that King Kai threw at him, Genma could only singe the outside since he lacked Goku's power and strength. "There's something troubling you, isn't there?" King Kai asked as he went over to check on Genma, who was panting heavily after he threw another Spirit Bomb towards a rock spire. The resulting boom had turned the spire into a partially damaged tower compared to Goku's blown-apart tower. "I can't match Goku's power. You said the Spirit Bomb is meant to destroy evil, but mine can barely even damage it, let alone break those blocks apart." Genma would lament as he watched the block collapse to the ground. "You're taking this too harshly on yourself. You can't force yourself to match Som E1 in strength and power alone. That'll just burn you out." King Kai pointed out. "You need to work to your own strengths rather than mimicking someone else's. Take this for instance. Remember back when you first started your genuine training and I had you test your power on these?" He showed Genma over to a pair of stone blocks. "You told us to test our Kamehamehas on them to gauge our strength," Genma would say. Though Goku destroyed his mind, couldn't. "How can someone be so smart yet dumb?" King Kai would lightly reprimand Genma before grabbing his GI and pulling him down to his level. "Take a good look at the two and tell me what you see." The Kai quizzed Genma as he pointed at the stone blocks. The most obvious sight was that one block was completely blasted apart, Goku's handiwork of course. The other stone block was almost pristine except for a singular hole in the middle that was roughly the size of a basketball. It looked like it was bored straight from one side to the other with no snagged parts or friction. A perfect circle, a perfect entry and exit point. It may not have been powerful enough to blow it up, but your blast was able to shoot faster and hollow out the ROCK clean through, King Kai mentioned as he let go of Genma. "Goku may have the greater power than you, but you can make up for it with some better ki control, understand?" "I see, so it's like using a scalpel instead of a hammer in a way." Genma mused aloud as he looked to King Kai. "Exactly, with better ki management you'll be able to control how much power you put into each attack, limit how much gets wasted, and more importantly it can open up a wide range of possibilities." Genma then nodded as he started to gather energy for another Spirit Bomb while King Kai telekinetically threw another block of stone around the planet and back towards Genma. With a quick build of energy and a throw, the spirit orb spiraled on itself and turned into a spear made of energy, piercing the block like a drill and started to disintegrate the block from the point of contact outwards. "And just like that you made it your own, though I guess since it does that, I'm not sure it counts as a Spirit Bomb anymore." King Kai mentioned as he watched the fragments of rock hit the floor. "It looks more like a spirit spear now, no more of a spirit bolt. That sounds better," Genma thought to himself with a growing smile now that he had something, but quickly dropped himself back down again when he saw King Kai start to smile. "It looks like you two have finally gotten wished back to life now," King Kai mentioned, as he noticed that Goku and Genma both had their halos disappear from their heads. However, this quickly turned into panic. "Oh no, this isn't good. How could I have been so reckless?" King Kai yelled out as he managed to draw Goku's attention. "What's wrong, King Kai?" Goku would ask, still taken by surprise at King Kai's sudden outburst. "I took all this time to train you too, but I never took your return journey into mind." King Kai was sweating and starting to pace around. "The Saiyans will be arriving to your planet soon," he stated grimly as both Genma and Goku were starting to get tense. "Wait, how long will it take for us to get back to the check-in station? Kami said he'd meet us back there to teleport us to Earth." Genma asked King Kai, knowing that if Goku asked, it'd take longer. "I don't know, I think around 2 days if you really rush there," King Kai said as he then snapped his fingers, turning the two men's GI from the Turtle School emblem to the King Kai emblem GI. "Now listen to me, you two. The progress you two have made is astonishing, but with your techniques, you need to be careful. Goku, make sure that in your fight, never go over Kaioken X3 unless you absolute. Lee Hafta and Genma that goes the same to you, but never go beyond the X2 mark for your level of skills. Now get going. King Kai made his last warnings before Goku and Genma zoomed off the planet and began their long sprint back to the main gate of the check-in station. Time ticked ever downward as both Genma and Goku moved faster than they could ever believe, with the training they had gone through on King Kai's planet. They felt like they were running on air as miles upon miles of snake way vanished underneath them by the second. Hey, Genma, Goku would ask as he was in a full sprint along the path with his brother. You think we can make it in time? I know King Kai said it'd be a couple of days, but I'm still worried. We can only go as fast as we can, but with the Saiyans on the way in 2 days, we can't afford to do anything but book it. Genma remarked, keeping his head forward. If we had Nimbus with us here, then we could get back to Yama in no time. Genma thought to himself before turning to Goku. Alright, on 3 we spring off and fly at full tilt. Use short bursts so we don't tire out in one go. Genma came up with a plan as Goku nodded. 1, 2, 3. The two yelled out as they made a leap into the air before erupting into a pair of white-blue colored fireballs that started to rise and bounce off of the curves of Snake Way, streaming across the Afterlife's sky as they reached their peak. True to what King Kai had theorized, their training was more than sufficient to have them moving like shooting stars, but the time still continued to move forward. And as they pumped all their energy to keep moving, the heavenly check-in station was in sight and Genma could see Kami standing at the gates with King Yama watching intently. Hurry, you two. We can get you back to Earth. Kami yelled as he held out both hands for the brothers before they vanished from the afterlife and back to Earth in the living world. On the lookout. All right, you two, Is could be it. Are you sure that you two are ready? Kami asked them as Genma stretched himself out. You don't need the answer to that, Kami. We're gonna do our best regardless, but we should stop by Korin first to get senzu beans for the others. Goku would mention as he then saw Genma near the edge of the lookout and looking rather serious. You can feel their power, can't you? Yeah, Goku, once we get going we need to put in every ounce of effort that we can into stopping them. Genma said as he jumped off the edge and floated downwards towards Korin's with Goku following after. Hey, you two, take these with you. Korin yelled from the tower and threw a pair of senzu beans as the two brothers caught them. The crop only had this much left, but if anyone can pull this off then you two can. Korin declared his support as they zoomed off like a rocket towards the rocky outskirts where the remnants of the Z fighters were standing against Nappa and Vegeta. Genma started to look troubled as they got closer and closer. We need to hurry, I can feel the others dropping in power with the more we aren't there. Genma said while trying to keep his mind calm. I can feel it too, but we're gonna help them, Genma, no matter what. Goku assured him as they both sped up, but Goku swooped in to save Gohan before Nappa could crush him. So these are the precious friends that you've been holding out for? The shorter one would drawl as he took notice of Genma and Goku while Nappa merely smirked in anticipation. Guys, Dad, Uncle Genma. Krillin and Gohan would be more surprised and happy to see the two back to life and standing in front of them. Goku would break his senzu bean in half and fed it to the both of them so they could at least recover a little. We tried getting here as fast as we could. Genma on the other hand was floored. While Goku tended to the others, the other brother would see the bodies of Yamcha, Piccolo and Tenshinhan laying lifeless on the ground. So you two are the Saiyans that Raditz told us about. Quote, that's right, but what you don't understand is just how out of your league you are. I'm an elite soldier and this is Prince Vegeta, so if you want to earn yourself the right to live, then feel free to prostrate yourself and we might feel generous. Nappa gloated as he crossed his arms while looking at this seemingly unimposing Saiyan. I think I'd rather just hit you until you say you're sorry. Genma retorted. The fact that this giant man was most likely responsible for this had put him in no mood for sassy retorts or quips. Wait, Genma, we should decide on who we should fight. Goku stepped in. It's only fair since it's two of us and two of them. I admire your confidence, Kakarot, but you are far from capable of even standing up to us together. Let alone singularly. Vegeta sneered with a vastly superior look on his face. I'll take on the prince, you can take care of the big guy. Goku mentioned, which made Genma turn around. No way, you can't just call dibs on an opponent just because you got here first. Genma argued with a rather annoyed look on his face. That's the rules, remember. First one there picks the opponent. Goku retort, Ed back as he wasn't entirely eager on potentially being sidelined. You know, I don't like being ignored, especially not by the lower class. Vegeta dryly snapped at them. Alright, fine, we choose it on. Genma would start to grumble as he looked back to Goku. Jan, Ken, Pawn. Goku thrust his hand forward in a rock position while Genma had his the same way, Tai. Krillin and Gohan were flabbergasted as the two continued to play rock paper scissors. Krillin more so figured that the two hadn't lost their competitiveness when it came to a fight and decided to not question it. Nappa meanwhile. He was outright confused as he watched them debate who to fight over a game. Pawn, they said with 2 papers. Pawn, 2 scissors. Pawn, 2 rocks again. Po, will you two imbeciles stop fooling around? The two got interrupted by Vegeta, who had gotten progressively more and more irate by the two's antics. However, this time it was Genma who was irritated as getting thrown off by Vegeta's yelling had made him lose with the scissors to Goku's rock. Alright, I win. Goku cheered triumphantly before looking to Vegeta. Since I won, I'll be your opponent, but we should move somewhere else, no one else should have to die. Goku explained to Vegeta, with some resignation and a desire to stop Goku's annoyance. The Saiyan Prince followed after Goku to somewhere that they could fight freely. Hey, I still wanna fight too. Nappa complained as he watched Vegeta and Goku zoom off towards the mountains. That's because I'm gonna be your opponent for this. Krillin, Gohan, I know it's been a while, but you need to get back to the others now. Genma told the surviving two, with a hint of hesitation. They flew off and left Genma and Nappa to fight, but first I have a question. Ha, a question, what is it, Parsna? How you wanna die? Or maybe you wanna know what'll happen when you lose? Nappa taunted Genma as he walked over to him. I wanna know which of the two of you was responsible for this Tenshinhan. Piccolo and the others, which one of you was it? Genma asked as he rolled his shoulder. Hey, you're looking straight at him, though I wouldn't get too worked up about it, because they barely put up a challenge for someone like me. Even the Namekian couldn't do a thing while he was shielding the brat. Nappa explained in detail to Genma, his smile growing wider as he saw that look of anger growing on Genma's face. Genma narrowed his eyes and cracked his knuckles. Good, then I know who to pummel into the ground because I've got a lot of pent-up anger to work through now. He would warn Nappa as he let his concealed power level start to grow little by little. You think talking tough like that's gonna make me fear you? Well, guess again. Nappa roared as he rushed forward to use a double-handed swing downwards to hammer blow Genma into the dirt. However, it looked like he had missed, and the moment he turned around, Genma had sprang forward and landed an elbow to the bald Saya in the back of the head and made him stumble. Whoa, I feel so light, and that hit knocked him good. I forgot it's a lower gravity back on Earth, Genma thought to himself as he watched Nappa crawl back up again. Time to take this new strength for a test drive. You got lucky, now I'm not gonna let you pull that one again. Nappa yelled as he reared his hand back to throw a Bomber DX at Genma. However, once the flames started to rise from the now scorched ground, he wasn't there. The hell, the guy could barely beat Raditz on his own. Nappa thought to himself, but he quickly saw Genma rushing down from the air and throwing a solid punch into the larger Saiyan's chest, winding him and staggering him backward. You made a big mistake with trying to make me angry, because right now I'm thinking of a better way to make you pay. Genma remarked as he then got into a stance. Take your best shot, because I will. Nappa didn't hesitate as he lunged for Genma, not having taken into account that the weaker Saiyan brother was slowly increasing his power in increments while the bald Saiyan unleashed a volley of mad punches in the hopes of snapping Genma like a twig. Genma, however, was able to maneuver himself around Nappa's giant fists, and then with a swift double kick upwards, he sent Nappa up into the air. I'll give you a final warning, grab whatever ship you came in on and leave you in that pint-sized monarch. Genma yelled up to Nappa, who was both on the edge of fury and in denial that he couldn't be beaten. Get real, once we get those Dragon Balls then we can gain immortality and stand up to the likes of Frieza. Nappa said with a maniacal laugh and revealed his and Vegeta's plan. With those pesky runts out of the way, then it should be no problem. The Dragon Balls? Good luck with that. Genma laughed as Nappa raised an eyebrow and looked confused. He's not even flinching when I said Frieza, and what's with that bravado? He should be shaking when I mentioned the immortality bid. Nappa thought, but then pointed at him. You know what? I might just let you live if you can show me where they are. He would follow up with a sadistic smirk. Well, they're not exactly here anymore. Genma pointed out as he noticed that Nappa didn't exactly know how they worked. I mean, you killed Piccolo and by extension Kami. He spelled it out for the confused-looking man. And, how exactly does wiping that weakling impact the— Oh shit, no. Nappa began to put it together as he looked like he was going through, figuring out that he might have made a boo-boo, knowingly bragged about it. Realizing that Vegeta didn't know. And dreading what would happen if he found out. Yep, now that you're figuring out what's going on, you've got two choices. The first is that you leave the planet and never come back, because knowing that little guy, he's not gonna be happy when he figures out that his subordinate just screwed up his whole plan. Genma offered his ultimatum to the very clammy-looking Saiyan. If I have to die, then they'll go down with me. Nappa yelled as he turned tail and rocketed towards Krillin and Gohan, who were making their way back to Kame House. Gohan! Genma yelled out as he rushed after Nappa, but quickly realized that he was rapidly closing the gap between him and the others. I can't get there quick enough. Time to try it out, he thought before closing his eyes to focus himself, and then in a flash of light, he burst forward. I might not be able to get the Dragon Balls, but I can still wipe out the last of you. Nappa screamed as he reared himself back to use a mouth cannon. Kaioken was what Gohan and Krillin could hear, but for Nappa it was his last chance. The two remaining defenders could see a wine red blur speed forward and then hit Nappa with the strength of a comet. Kaio, what? Was the only thought in Nappa's head before he felt his body crumple under him and fell towards the land. Genma had slammed himself into Nappa's back, sending him downward and careening for the ground, but Genma was already there and then delivered a spinning kick into the side of Nappa's neck. Letting the vastly by GGER Saiyan hit the ground with a very visceral sounding crack. The second choice is I put you out of your misery before he does. I gave you a warning, so you only have yourself to blame for this. NMA muttered as he landed to the ground and the energy around him dissipated, unaware that Krillin and Gohan had come back. Genma, what was that? Krillin was the first one to ask as he barely caught what had happened. First that big guy was gonna kill us, but then he went flying to the ground. The only thing I actually saw was that bright red dot moving. Oh, that was actually what me and Goku were training to use in the afterlife. Genma explained, it's called the Kaioken. For a brief moment while it is active, I receive a burst of power, and depending on how much I boost it, I see and become several times stronger with it. Whoa, and Dad knows it too? Gohan asked his uncle as he was in awe of what he and potentially his father were capable of now. Heck yeah, though in all honesty, I don't think Goku would have needed it against that guy, he mentioned as he gazed down at the broken but somehow still breathing Saiyan. But it's also dangerous because one wrong move means it's a danger, and for Goku, it's a real power hog. Still, I can't believe it was that easy for you to take him out like that. Krillin asked with an admittedly disheartened look on his face. We tried our best to fight him off, but all it accomplished was losing everyone in the process. Genma sighed as he then looked to Krillin. You did your best to ensure that everyone could have a fighting chance. Besides, the last time I fought a Saiyan before this, me and Goku weren't exactly any better, he remarked as a joke which managed to get Krillin to laugh a little. In any case, I truthfully didn't want to eliminate him. But I gave him the chance to leave and he used it to try taking you two out. So, what exactly do we do now? Krillin asked, but noticed both Gohan and Genma looking pale and off into the distance where Vegeta and Goku had taken their fight. Genma could feel it, and once he noticed the look on Gohan's face, he could tell that he did too. This is something's going on out there. I don't know if it's Goku showing off or that Prince getting angry, but I can feel power swelling like a balloon, but what will pop? Genma was starting to worry. Sure, Goku was strong, but that rise in power was more than a little concerning. Gee, Gohan! Krillin yelled out as he watched the smaller Saiyan dash off and speed towards the fight. Gee, Genma, we gotta Genma. I'm going after him. If I let him go alone, Goku and Chi-Chi wouldn't forgive me. Genma responded as he sped off after his nephew. Hold on, let's stop and think about all the hell with it, wait up. Krillin resigned himself as he tried to catch up with Gohan and Genma. The fact that he barely survived against Nappa was enough reason for him to run, but with the two brothers back and Gohan, he couldn't just leave them. Meanwhile, in the mountains, Goku was screaming out in pain as Vegeta was crushing him in between his hands. Throughout Genma's fight with Nappa, Goku and Vegeta were fighting with no witnesses, which and that the Saiyan Prince could easily transform himself into the Uzaru thanks to his fake moon. Alright Kakarot, you had the gall to think you had the chance to beat me alone, but this is all that you can do. Vegeta's beastly voice growled out as he gripped the smaller Saiyan, intent on breaking him for driving him to this. Get your hands off my dad, you giant simian! Gohan yelled as he stared up at Vegeta, getting both of their attention. Gee, Gohan, I thought you left, Goku croaked out through his squeezed body. Gohan, run, He yelled out before feeling Vegeta's vice-like grip closing on him again. Go on and run away. Little brat, your father is too broken and weak to protect you. The mere presence of a Saiyan elite should frighten you, and in this form, I am 10 times stronger than I was before. The giant Vegeta gloated before noticing Genma landing alongside Gohan. What? The giant ape? Genma was taken aback as he then saw Goku in his grip. Whatever the hell you are, put him down. He yelled out as he got into his stance, not taking any chances with a monster that was the size of a building. Vegeta responded with a very loud and cruel laugh. What do you think you can do as you are, Parsna? You're barely as strong as Nappa and I am many times stronger. Your only hope to survive is to beg for mercy. Vegeta taunted him as he kept squeezing Goku in his hands. And just like that, I've run out of patience with you. Genma narrowed his eyes as he focused his thoughts and readied himself. Sorry King Kai, but I'm probably going to overdo this. Vegeta would callously drop Goku to the ground and turn to entertain himself with Genma as he reared a hand up to swipe down on him like an insect, only to find that Genma was gone from his position and that familiar red aura was surrounding him as he rose higher into the sky. Very clever of you to double down on your sibling's trump card, but I am already well aware of your technique. Vegeta gloated as he then shot several mouth bullets at Genma, watching the Saiyan dodge and weave under each one before swinging his tail into him. Genma felt his body erupt in pain as the effects of the Kaioken still hit him like a truck. The fact that his almost prodigious ki control was able to limit the energy drain hadn't done anything to soften the physical impact that the technique had on him. So you know about the Kai. Okayan, Genma wheezed as he staggered to his feet. Well, unlike Goku, I expand on what I learned. Genma clutched his chest. That last hit knocked the wind out of him, but he wasn't going to stop now. Getting into a new stance, Genma brought his left hand back in a fist and his right hand forward with his palm outstretched like a Neo stance. Budokan. Genma would yell out as even Vegeta could feel the ki explode from his body, and the energy from the Kaioken that covered Genma started to change in color, turning from a wine red into a deeper and more darker shade of blue, which made him look like he was coated in sapphire flame. As Gohan and Krillin caught up, they had to brace when they felt Genma's power rising higher and higher than they had ever seen from him before. That's Genma? Krillin asked himself as he then rushed over to the injured Goku. Gohan, go help your uncle with keeping whatever that thing is distracted. I'll go help your dad. Krillin addressed Gohan while the Alpha Saiyan started taking shots at Vegeta. Budokan, I don't know what you're planning, but it's not going to work against a Saiyan elite. Vegeta growled at Genma as he swatted away Gohan's blasts and ready to swipe down Genma again, only to see he had vanished. This time, it's different. Genma yelled out as that burning blue aura coated his fist and he sent it hurtling into the giant ape's face, knocking Vegeta off balance and clutching his face. That hurt. It was like a space bee sting, but it hurt. Now I'm really going to kill you. Vegeta roared as Genma flew back for distance. He landed on a rocky pillar and clutched the shaking arm he used to punch Vegeta. That was a lot harder than I thought. I need to be careful, otherwise I could end up dead, Genma thought to himself. He had to snap out of it as Vegeta was already on top of him again. The giant monkey was stomping down towards him and making Genma continuously jump backwards and get a wider berth. This is the truth of all you are capable of, Parsna. Nothing more than just running away and pot shots against someone like me. Vegeta continued to gloat but winced as he felt the volley of ki blasts hitting the back of his head like they were merely bug bites. Annoying little pests. Genma was readying himself for a second burst when he saw Vegeta turn to lash out on Gohan and Krillin, but stopped when he heard a voice in his head. Genma. Goku! Don't worry, we'll get through this. I just need to double up on the Budokan and then Don't. King Kai said if you use it too much then you'll end up wreaking your body worse than the Kaioken. I got some energy stored up. I can pass it on to Krillin, but right now the only way we can take him down is with the spirit bomb. Genma thought on it and nodded as he raised his hands up into the air to start gathering up whatever energy he could and tried to focus it into a singular point on the palms of his hands. Come on. Just a little can help, he muttered to himself, feeling the energy that lingered from other people on Earth and channeling what little he could into a more physical form, though what he could muster was not enough. Damn it, all I can get isn't enough for a full spirit bomb, but maybe I can get creative with something else. Genma mused to himself as he drew the hand holding the spirit energy in it and cupped it in a similar pose. Kami. Vegeta however turned back towards Genma and noticed the energy gathering. No you don't. He roared and shot off another mouth cannon at Genma, wise to Goku's previous attempt Instead of blasting away his footing like he did with Goku, he succeeded in hitting Genma head-on, knocking the other Saiyan off of the rock and crashing to the ground in a smoldering heap. Genma had a lot of things on his mind as he crashed to the ground. The fact that Vegeta was pretty strong as a giant lumbering monster on top of being able to move and react this fast, the revelation that he giant monkey monster from his dreams was real, but also the dread that both he and Goku were not enough to take on Vegeta like this. But the one consolation was that he knew he was still alive as his heart pounded in his ears with adrenaline and raw emotion. Krillin finally pulled Goku away once Vegeta was distracted by Genma's sudden attack, but then he noticed something that gave him a really bad feeling. Is that oh no? Krillin began getting flashbacks to the tournament that the two fought in as kids with Goku versus Jackie Chun. The memory was vivid as the moon was out at that one evening. Genma had a brown, furry tail sticking out of the hole in his GI much like Goku did too, which left Krillin with a question that he was afraid to answer. If Goku was able to cause so much damage as what's a full-grown Genma gonna do with this? Genma was twitching and convulsing on the ground as his body began to grow and sprout fur all over his body. His eyes rolled back into red and his owls of pain quickly turned into guttural roars of feral rage as his size grew bigger and bigger until finally he matched Vegeta's size. Genma had become a great ape right before their eyes, but could it change a thing against the prince? Prince Vegeta, the regent of the Saiyan race and the elite of elites, was expecting a lot of things. He expected a challenge from the humans and the Namekian on Earth. He was sorely disappointed. He expected for Nappa to make quick work of Genma on his own, but no response left him curious. However, when he saw what he believed to be nothing more than a lower last Saiyan trash to begin growing bigger and bigger by the second, slowly becoming the very thing that put him at the advantage. So Parsna, you are a Saiyan after all. If you can become a great ape, Adley, that is the only thing that I will acknowledge before I kill you. The giant ape Vegeta laughed cruelly as he stomped towards the now huffing great ape Genma, who was getting more and more wrapped up in this. Go, Han, a deep and beastly voice came from Genma. Even saying something as simple as his nephew's name seemed to require a lot of focus and restraint. Don't worry uncle, you can do this. Gohan was unsure what was going on, and now that he was in the presence of two giant apes, it dissipated that feeling of curiosity and replaced it with fear. Gohan, are you a? The giant monkey tried to warn Gohan to get away in his wavering moments of rationality, that quickly burned away partway through his plea into a chilling roar of titanic volume as the beast began to viciously pound on his chest to Vegeta in a primal display of territorial challenge. Gahahahaha, this is truly rich. Even the most composed and level-headed Saiyan can be reduced to a feral beast in the IPS of a Saiyan's true instinct for battle. Vegeta taunted as he answered the beast's challenge by lumbering towards Genma with a vicious straight punch. With a stagger backwards, Genma's colossal bow Dai turned on itself and swung its own gigantic arm to collide into Vegeta's throat like a kaiju-sized lariat. Roaring with barely controlled wild rage and instinct, Genma kept rounding wild swing aft swing on Vegeta in his myriad of bestial instinct and rage. Vegeta was being slowly pushed back, but he still held the upper hand as he retained more of his sense than Genma did and swung his giant arms down on the back of the Saiyan's head to slam him into the ground. This wretch is pushing me back. No, I refuse to allow it. He mentally languished as he pushed his head back to charge up a mouth cannon to hit the giant monkey dead on. Uzaru Genma was feral and out for Vegeta's defeat as he swung claw and fang at the prince, but he saw him backing off as the Saiyan rearing his head back. With instinct or some latent sense of Genma's brain still in there, the monkey put its hands backwards in a familiar position. Kami. Krillin was ducking his head down as he tried to go get to Gohan before the younger boy got hurt when he saw the supposedly mindless great ape mimicking the stance of a move that he had seen both him and Goku use hundreds of times over. No way, Hami. Uzaru Genma growled and tried pushing faster when he saw Vegeta getting ready to blast back at him before thrusting both hands forward with a primal roar. Ha! Both beams collided into each other with the force of a warhead as it shook the ground they were on and demonstrated just how big the boost between the two Saiyans were. The energy was enough to knock everyone back and sent Gohan into the bottom of the canyon while Krillin hit a wall. The bald monk staggered to his feet as he saw the awe-inspiring struggle of beam on beam between the two giants. Hey, no amount of intel. Igance will make you overpower me when I'm 10 times stronger than I was normally. The great ape Vegeta would think to himself as he tried pushing back harder by pumping more energy into the beam from his mouth. Great ape Genma, however, started to struggle when that influx of power grew stronger against him. He kept trying to push back with all his might, and with the last moment of his control slipping away, he roared out to anyone still in the canyon, "Get his tail!" Realizing that he was still in control somehow, Krillin decided to try doing what he could to help. He lifted up his palm and started to gather energy to launch another of his Destructo discs. The energy hummed around him, and with a hefty swing, the disc buzzed past Genma and curved around. Now to end this. Prepare to die, PARSNA. Vegeta was about to unleash all his power on Genma, but something snapped his connection as he felt his power starting to sap away. A loud thud made itself heard as Vegeta's Saiyan tail hit the ground, twitching like a giant serpent, leaving both Krillin and Yajirobe watching as Vegeta started to shrink himself back down as his energy weakened. Now's my chance, Great Ape Genma thought as he released every ounce of his power into the collapsing Vegeta, sending the weakening Saiyan into the cliff wall with nothing to buffer him. Though something didn't seem right, Genma's power started to weaken and his growling grew more monstrous. He's losing his faculties. If he doesn't change back soon, then we'll all die. Krillin panicked as he saw the formerly coherent ape form of his other best friend starting to rampage out of control. God, Genma was roaring and howling as he smashed apart the rocky infrastructure and beating on his chest angrily as a ball of energy formed in his mouth and aimed it at where Vegeta was, past the point of thinking clearly and the wildness of the great ape form having completely overwhelmed him. Hey, you may have weakened me, Pa. RNSA, but you will ultimately lose to yourself. I only wish that I could see that look of anguish when you kill your own friends in your rampage. Vegeta chuckled darkly as he weakly pulled out a Remo to summon his pod to get off of Earth before Genma made good on his destruction. As if I'll let you leave. Krillin growled as he was holding on by a thread. After everything you've done, and Eve. Ryon, you heard, I will never let you leave. Yajirobe on the other hand was debating every single instinct in his head as he rushed towards the giant monkey from behind with his sword drawn. What am I doing? What am I doing? Again, brain, what the hell am I doing? He mentally screamed at himself as he used what he learned on Kami's lookout to jump high into the air and cut through Genma's tail. Watching as the formerly rampaging ape fall to the ground and turn back into Genma before he collapsed to the ground. Hey, knew I could nail it. Yajirobe did a 180 on his thinking once he knew he wasn't going to die. He helped me up. Genma weakly wheezed as the transformation and the accumulated strain of his abilities hit him like a 10-ton truck. Take me over to Krillin. You kidding me? You look like you're about to die. Again, Yajirobe protested, but he still helped Genma up regardless and carried him over. I swear, you and that bro of yours are equally crazy. Genma didn't answer that as he saw Krillin standing over Vegeta with a harsh intent. You think that you can leave after what happened? He grunted as he then lifted a palm up to gather up energy to blast Vegeta with what little he had left. Vegeta sneered, I can still move unaided, Parsna. You on the other hand can't even stand straight. He taunted but was admittedly a little afraid when he saw Krillin pull Yajirobe's sword out of its sheath. You think you have the nerve to end it? Either of you, Krillin growled. For someone like you I'll make an exception. Krillin raised the sword high to strike him do. But both of them were stopped when a telepathic voice broke their anger. Both of you stop. Let him go. Genma's energy ball dissipated as Krillin froze, unable to comprehend the fact that Goku of all people was letting him go. Goku, you can't be serious, right? He's the reason that everyone's gone. The other son brother protested as he struggled to keep conscious. He's right. With Piccolo gone, that means that Kami's dead too. We can't even wish for any of them to come back. Krillin agreed as his sword-clutching hand shook with barely contained anger. I know it's probably not the best idea, but he knows what we can do now. His power is scary, sure, but he also knows that we'll fight back harder. Goku pointed out as he finally passed out from the pain. Genma was conflicted from his Saiyan side and his human side. On the one hand, he knew that Vegeta wouldn't sit and take this lightly, however he also had this smaller but equally strong feeling that if Vegeta came back stronger he'd become a challenge to overcome, and something about that excited him a little. Get out. What? Vegeta blinked as he saw Genma's energy ball dissipate and lowered Krillin's arm. Hink that I'll just run away like a coward. You'll leave because I'm allowing you to. Genma said with a harsh expression, I want you to understand that you've escaped from this planet because we've shown you the mercy that I don't even know if you deserve any, so if you have any sense left, you'll take it. Krillin was shocked that Genma was taking Goku's side, but he ultimately backed down as watched Vegeta climb into his pod and sneer at them from inside. You might have barely won this fight, Earthlings. But consider this a warning. When I am back to full health I will come back in and I find you two Saiyan traitors, I'll make you watch me destroy the planet you love and then you'll be the last to go. Vegeta threatened them, cackling weakly as the pod vanished up into the sky to leave Earth for good. Krillin dropped Yajirobe's sword and looked to Genma. You heard him too, didn't you? He asked Genma as he tried to keep on his feet. We did it, we won, Genma. Genma lapsed forward from exhaustion as the adrenaline finally wore off. Why yeah, I heard, but right now we need to get everyone medical attention, he groaned as he then heard Yajirobe rush over with the tattered remnants of Genma's GI. Don't worry, buddy, I found this in your pocket. Yajirobe mentioned as he held up the other senzu bean that Genma had held on to while Goku used his to patch up Krillin and Gohan. Eat this and it'll help you on your feet. Give it to Gohan, he needs it more than I do, Genma said with a strained voice but felt a wind of relief as he saw a capsule core airship flying overhead. Besides, the cavalry's already here, he said before he passed out. The first to emerge out of the airship was Chi-Chi, whose first instinct was to sprint over to Gohan and was shocked to see that besides being butt naked, was ultimate unharmed thanks to the senzu bean. Oh Gohan, thank goodness that you're okay. She wailed and held on to him with a relieved expression. You know, your husband and your brother-in-law are in worse conditions, you could still show a little sympathy, Yajirobe thought to himself as he knew that directing her attention away from Gohan was like pulling the pin on a grenade. Bulma on the other hand had robots airlift Goku onto the ship and she was currently examining Genma. You two really can't stay out of trouble, can you? She muttered to herself since Genma was unconscious. Though she quickly had a smile form as ultimately she was just glad that Goku and Genma were both able to win their fight. Let's get you two cleaned up. Days later, the hospital rang out in screaming from the ICU as Goku was bandaged up from head to toe and suffering from a crippling bout of his needle phobia as the doctors tried to tend to him. Well, I guess he's back to normal. I guess, Genma rolled his eyes as he was currently being looked over by another doctor in a bed next to Goku. Once the two got taken to the hospital, they were seen to with the utmost urgency when they realized that the two men were friends of the briefs. Honestly, Goku, you've taken on all kinds of monsters and bad guys, but you cry about a shot. Even Gohan wasn't fazed a boo. Them when he was born, Chi-Chi bemoaned as she looked to Genma, who was currently being seen to as well. See, your brother can handle shots like this no problem. Cut him some slack, Chi-Chi, everyone has a phobia. Even ass-kicking martial artists like Goku and Genma do. Bulma pointed out as she sat by and watched the two Saiyans in their beds. Speaking of which, do you know when they'll be fully healed up? She asked one of the doctors. Unfortunately, that's not an easy comment for me to make. Both of these two have suffered some devastating injuries that would normally take months, or even years to recover from if you count the therapy. The doctor mentioned as he gestured to Goku's chart. Son Goku has suffered some severe damage when he got his legs and ribs crushed. He pointed out and then tapped to Genma's chart. While not as egregious, son Genma has a completely shattered arm and various degrees of muscular damage along with some high-degree burns. The others looked NGST each other with concern since both brothers were bandaged up pretty tightly and with no senzu beans coming by anytime soon meant they were stuck here. Honestly, you two have done amazingly, so enjoy your rest. Master Roshi mentioned as he tapped his cane. Speaking of which, what are you doing about school, Genma? Wouldn't they be worried that you've been laid out like this? Bulma asked him, curiously since he had technically been away for a year and no one had been calling after him. Well, I've been on a mandated vacation for the better part of a year, something about taking your damn vacation or you'll burn out, kind of thing from the principal, Genma shrugged, though I guess if they do call, I'll just say that I got caught in a mountaineering accident. Bulma sighed as she lightly bopped him on the head. You're just as bad as Goku sometimes, you know that, right? She grumbled with a tired expression, then again she wouldn't have it any other way. Still, it's a shame that we have no Dragon Balls. We can't really wish for the others to come back to life, Krillin mentioned as the fact that everyone who had given it their everything to fight back against the Saiyans couldn't have the luxury anymore. That's not necessarily the case. Mr. Popo remarked as he stood on a magic carpet from outside the window. There's a way that you can bring your friends back, but it requires you to go to Kami's home planet Namek. If you wish, then I can take you to Kami's old ship. I've never heard of Namek before, but if we need to travel space then we need a ship. Bulma mentioned. As she headed over to Popo to discuss the details. Krillin, make sure they are seen to while I'm gone. Why, you got it. Krillin saluted as the others split off since visiting hours were over. It'll be a while before you two can get up again, so why not let us handle things for a while? I'll just make sure that Gohan doesn't have to worry about anything except what to study next. Chi-Chi men, yawned lightly as she sat by Gohan's bed. Ever since they had left the canyons, she was adamant on making sure that her baby boy and Goku were both okay, but predominantly Gohan. Chi-Chi, he's just been through a harrowing enough time with fighting the Saiyans. Don't you think that study time can be put on the back burner for a few weeks at least while he rests up? Genma mentioned as he craned his neck to look at her. Someone has to look out for Gohan. How do you think I felt when my son was made to fight those monsters? Chi-Chi snapped back, all because Piccolo took him away for a year. Genma grimaced at her, reiterating that, while they were in recovery, Krillin filled in both siblings about what happened while they were on Snake Way, and it took both Krillin and Yajirobe to hold him down from his attempts to go find Baba and get to the afterlife. If he hadn't gone through that training, even if I don't exactly agree with it, it would have been a lot worse for everyone involved. You're a teacher, Genma. You should know that Piccolo is yours and Goku's former enemy. I can't believe you'd trust him with our son. Well, I'm sorry, I'll make sure to remember that the next time we both die. Genma replied sarcastically. Chi-Chi's ironclad obstinance on ensuring Gohan put studying first even before he got into a school was an infuriating one, since he believed that a kid should get to be a kid before they start investing in an education. It wasn't the first time that Chi-Chi and Genma had disagreements about this, and with Gohan mentioning about going with Krillin and Bulma, a dynamic seemed to make things more tense for Chi-Chi as it broke out into a full-blown argument. A few days later, we got the ship finished, so we should be off to Namek tomorrow. Bulma explained, as she sat with the two while they recovered. Goku was still the worse off from his injuries, so he remained in the bed, but Genma was better enough to be downgraded into a full cast for the arm he shot TTERED with Budokan and a bandaged up torso, which left him in hospital pants. Awesome, so this means that you'll be able to get everyone back when you return? Genma asked as he was trying to stretch and do some exercises to catch up on his days that he wasn't able to move. Hopefully, but it's still gonna take us some time to get there, and who knows what we'll find out there. Bulma added as she was watching Genma exercise, and she wasn't sure whether to get him back into bed or be impressed that he can move like he can. But I've spoken with my dad, if anything should happen or if you recover before we get back, then there's a spare ship that you can use to get to our location. Traveling into space, that sounds super cool. Goku grinned as he liked the sound of what Bulma was planning. Enma soon followed suit with a similar smile. You're the best, Bulma. Genma cheered as he stood up and flashed her a thumbs up, which made her wave it off. Please, you know me better than to leave you guys out of a potential adventure. Bulma decided to let her cheeky side come out as she liked the compliments but didn't want to admit that she liked the praise. So, if you're willing to make the trip, then consider it your vacation ride, you too. Genma nodded as he lifted Bulma up in a one-handed hug and spun her around with an excited tone in his voice. You hear that, Goku? We're going to space. Goku was laughing as he watched a bright red Bulma yelling at him to put her down. Yeah, if we recover. Once Bulma was let down, she dusted herself off with a beet red face and glared at him. You're lucky that you're endearing, otherwise I'd smack you. She pouted, so heal up. Get yourselves ready and join us when you can, she announced before leaving to finish preparing. The two were finally left alone as Genma climbed back into bed. Goku, why did you let Vegeta escape? He asked the question that had been eating at him since they woke up. Because we beat him, there wasn't really any other reason. Goku shrugged as he noticed that Genma was looking serious on the matter. Goku, in all the times I've known you, you've avenged everyone, Tao King Piccolo, the Red Ribbon Army, you beat them all but never let them get away after. Why now? Goku paused to think on it, and after a few minutes, he turned to Genma. Vegeta was one of the strongest guys that we've ever fought. His power was scary, and that alone made me want to train up more. If he gets stronger and we get stronger, then that makes him a better fight for us. Plus, if Piccolo could change like he did, what's to say Vegeta can't? Genma, however, looked like he did when Chi-Chi started her arguments with him. Goku, he killed all of our friends and he's the reason we're going off planet. There's nothing about that guy that's good or even worth redeeming. He snapped as he knew that someone like Vegeta wouldn't just say what he said without meaning it. Yeah, but we'll be stronger too, so we could take him, Goku said simply. He stood by what he said and was eager to fight Vegeta again when he was stronger. Goku, I'll stand by what you say regardless of if people say it's crazy, but this is too much. What happens if he gets too strong? Or we can't fight him? What happens if we can't fight back? Genma pointed out as while that same craving to fight Vegeta lingered, his common sense was equally telling him that this was a bad idea. We'll figure it out, we don't necessarily have to fight him now, but I know he'll come back. Goku mentioned with a grin at the prospect. Knowing that he wouldn't budge on the matter, Genma gave up with a sigh. Alright, but I want you to promise something. If Vegeta comes back, then we fight him, but if he hasn't changed and does anything to threaten our friends or our planet, and I don't care if he's a stronger fight, I will kill him to ensure he doesn't. Genma then held his hand out to Goku. Promise me this, Goku, and I'll go along with this second chance. Goku realized that Genma was entirely serious, and in a small way, he knew that Vegeta could and probably would try, so he reached a bandaged arm out and shook on it. Alright, Genma, I promise. 1 month later, both Genma and Goku were itching to make it back out there. Genma more so since he was now able to stick to just an arm cast, but both brothers were equally antsy to start moving around again, and with Master Roshi there to visit, it made it a lot more tolerable to handle the assessment on them both. So as far as we know, Bulma and the others have made it to Namek without a problem, but she said that Vegeta is there too, along with someone that's even stronger than him. Roshi explained as Genma was getting his blood pressure monitored. Really? But we're still not allowed out of the hospital. Goku pouted as he was still stuck in bed. He had been able to allow the use of his arms for his good behavior. Actually, I can change that, Yajirobe mentioned as he walked through the door and held out a bulging sack. Thanks to Korin working overtime for you two, we've got ourselves a metric ton of senzu beans that can get you guys out of bed. I'm sorry, sir, but we don't allow outside food in here, and these two are still in too critical a condition to be able to leave the hospital. The doctor protested, but Yajirobe simply tossed a couple of beans to Genma and Goku, who quickly munched them down. Genma flexed his arm and effortlessly broke the cast off of his arm and stretched out, while Goku flexed and broke all of the protective casts on his body, leaving the doctor in shocked silence. After grabbing the repaired GI that both Chi-Chi and Bulma left them, the two quickly changed out of the hospital gowns. Goku, however, jumped out the window and called for Nimbus. I'll meet you at Capsule Corps. Nice seeing you, Master Roshi. Both Genma and Roshi sighed. Well, I guess I can't blame him, he was in worse shape than you were, so he's gonna take whatever chance to get some open air. Roshi remarked as he pat Genma's arm. Still, you've both gotten stronger than anyone else. If I know you both, then you'll take what you've learned and go for even higher heights. Genma nodded. Yeah, you betcha I'll take these with us. Since Goku forgot, he mentioned as he took the bag of senzu and headed for the window. Make sure you let Chi-Chi know that Goku's okay and that we're on our way. Roshi waved as Genma flew out of the window and headed for the giant Capsule Corps building, quickly catching up with Goku as they landed in the front yard where Panchi was watering the gardens outside. Goku, Genma, it's been too long since you two boys showed up. Panchi welcomed them happily as they landed. It's nice to see that you've healed up. Hiya, Mrs. Briefs, is Dr. Briefs around? Gok, you asked as he glanced around for the scientist that was often found tinkering. He should be in his workshop. He's currently putting the last few pieces together for something. Panchi mentioned as she then looked to Genma. So, how has your teacher work been? Bulma said you were working at a school in the city. Genma smiled a little. Yeah, I'm a substitute history teacher but a full-time gym teacher, so hoping that I can work my way up. You guys and Bulma really did a lot to help me with the studying. Well, we know that you worked hard to get there, so think nothing of it, but Bulma did want to make sure that you were able to be your best. Panchi mentioned. So when do you think that you'll meet someone? She added with a slightly playful tone, earning a bright flush on Genma's face. I don't think I really thought about it. Genma tried to focus, but Panchi's teasing seemed to get at him for some reason. Come now, Genma, you have to settle down sometime. Goku has Chi-Chi in it. It's only fair that someone as kind as you should be able to get someone who sees that and will treat you right. Panchi pointed out and poked his chest. Just like I want Bulma to be able to find someone like that. Maybe you could be that person. But Bulma's dating Yamcha, if I remember it right, Genma pointed out. The two had been a perpetual on and off relationship for so long that he stopped trying to keep track. Besides, I'm pretty sure that Bulma is probably focused on other things besides that. Oh, don't be so negative. I've seen how my daughter looks at you and I can tell that you look at her in a similar way. You two have been friends for the longest time like she and Goku have. Why not try to take a chance like you did with becoming a teacher? Panchi tried to reassure him as she placed a hand on his back. Genma took a moment to muse on the prospect. Sure, it sounded like a good idea, but he remembered that when the two first came back for the tournament when Piccolo showed up as Ma Jr., Bulma tried to get with Goku first but backed off when Chi-Chi ended up reiterating her marriage proposal. I'll think about it. he said quietly as he was then dragged into the main lab by Goku as doctor. Briefs showed them the new ship that they would be taking. Whoa. This is amazing, is it ready to fly yet? Dr. Briefs took a puff of his cigarette and then looked to them. As of yet. No, it's missing one crucial component that I've been racking my brain to figure out. Well, what is it? Is it a button for a muffin machine? Goku asked with confusion from both Genma and from Dr. Briefs. I was talking about a stereo. I never considered a dispenser like that, Dr. Briefs pointed out as he headed over to his worktop. Come on, I just think it'd be real nice that we could just press a button after trainin' and then boom. Blueberry muffin ready to be eaten. Goku went off on a tangent. Ah, damn it, now I kinda want that idea too. Think that a button like that could make apple cinnamon muffins? Genma asked with the same type of curiosity that Goku had as his stomach growled at the concept of more food. Ooh, what about chocolate chip, maple and strawberry, lemon tart, caramel and vanilla? What abo? Damn it, you too. There is a muffin button on there, I just hadn't tested it yet. Dr. Briefs yelled as he knew that they needed to focus. Now stay right here, I need to get the last few parts for the stereo. Try not to touch anything. Dr. Briefs explained and headed out of the ship to go get the parts he needed while Genma started looking around. Wonder if this starts the thing, Goku thought to himself as he tapped one of the buttons. However, it was not the muffin button or the radio but the ignition as it sent the two Saiyans hurtling up into the sky and breaching into space. Dr. Briefs ran back to the sound of the crashing ship going through the roof. No. I hadn't even told them about. Well, I suppose it's lucky I programmed the ship to go to Namek. Everything okay in there, dear? Panchi asked as she came into the lab with some snacks and a drink for Dr. Briefs. Well, those two are on their way, so we better let Bulma and the others know to expect them in a few days. Dr. Briefs explained briefly before going to find his phone. Oh good, we can tell Bulma that we might have set her up for a date with someone when she gets back home, P. Anchi hummed with joy as she set the tray down. Yes, that too. Wait, what? It was a rocky liftoff. Goku had sent them rocketing through space with the engines firing on all cylinders to get moving. Huff. Someone else was quick to point this out as Dr. Briefs showed up on a video call with them both. Goku. Genma, what on earth happened in there? I thought I told you two not to touch the start button. I wanted to find the muffin button. Goku admitted with a slight frown since he hadn't found it yet. Still, we managed to figure out that the ship works, so now we just need to get to Namek. Dr. Briefs sighed. It wasn't the first time that Goku moved to his own rhythm and thanked his common sense to plan ahead. I would be more upset with you two for tinkering with space travel, but lucky. Lee Bulma provided me with the coordinates to get to planet Namek. With the rate that your trav. Wait, where's Genma? I should probably explain to him about the logistics. Oh, he went into the bath. He's been in there for a little while now. Goku pointed out as the chamber echoed with the sounds of dry heaving came about from what was most likely the bathroom. This thing's a lot different than flying Nimbus. I guess traveling in space always has its bumps. I've left some recordings for you too in case you forget. Whatever you do, be careful when you're pressing buttons. There's a gravity control in here and it can go up to 100 times Earth's gravitational pull. Dr. Briefs explained, one wrong press and a twitch will crush your bones into dust if you aren't careful. Don't worry about it, Dr. Briefs. Me and Genma both trained on 10 times Earth's gravity, so wait, we can use this to grow stronger if we can up the gravity. Goku mentioned, but then had a wide smile as he felt like he cracked a code. Far be it from me to question your logic, just be careful. Alright, I don't want to have Chi-Chi and Bulma complaining that the two of you end up crapping out your own spines. Drive. Briefs conceded before hanging up the phone. Hey Genma, I think we have a way to train better. Goku called behind him as the sounds of a toilet flush came through and Genma staggered out with an expression like he had literally threw up his guts. Goku, next time we take a spaceship, I drive. Genma groaned as he stretched out. So what's this new training plan? Goku excitedly detailed what the doctor said about the gravity controls and how to work them. So if we could train on 10 times gravity at King Kai's, we might be able to slowly work our way up. Genma said as a similar grin formed. Goku, you're a genius. But I think that Dr. Briefs is right, we should take this carefully. We can afford to mess up a little since we got that bag of senzu beans, but we should take it slow while training. Yeah, let's go with 10 and work our way up. Goku mentioned as he got into a stance. We got 6 days to get there, so let's not waste time. Genma grinned as he did the same thing and crouched into his stance. I'm feeling more fired up, so let's make this worth it," he yelled out as they clashed against each other. The days quickly trod along as each sparring match slowly built them up little by little. The two Saiyan brothers quickly went in their stubborn ways to fight and move enough to get up to 100x Earth's gravity and move with easy. There is no fake Namek. Moving on. It was rounding up to the 6th day and Namek was almost in sight. The training area however looked like a bomb had gone off with the floor cracked and certain parts dented in, with both Genma and Goku panting heavily from their last training session. "And that makes 60-59 to you," Genma conceded as he bumped fists with Goku and they each took a Senzu bean. "Goku, Genma, are you two there? Hey, King Kai, long time since we spoke. We just finished training." Goku grinned as he straightened up. "Yeah, I noticed it's always a marvel with you Saiyans every time you guys nearly die in battle or reach your limits. You always seem to come out stronger." King Kai noted as he then spoke to them both. "I've managed to come across your friends and they made it here to my planet. They told me that you guys were planning on using the Namekian Dragon Balls to bring them back." "Yep, once we touch down on Namek we can go fight Vegeta and get the Dragon Balls to use them," Goku added, with that added excitement that he would fight Vegeta again. "Goku, Genma, I need to warn you both that what you are approaching on Namek is nothing like what you encountered on Earth," King Kai explained gravely. "There is someone else on Namek and I can assure you that they are much, much worse than even Vegeta." "Someone worse than Vegeta? I honestly doubt that can be done," Genma admitted. "Vegeta did a ton of bad things to threaten the planet, so I don't think it can get much worse." "Oh, it can," King Kai retorted. "This person is known throughout the galaxy as the most terrifying conqueror and one of the evil same type of person that could exist. I need you to promise me, both of you, that you will stay away from this person and do not engage if you don't have to. If they're on Namek then we're probably going to be dealing with them anyway," Genma pointed out. "I can't promise that we'll avoid them, but if they threaten us then at the very least, we will defend ourselves. Just stay away from him, avoid Frieza at all costs." The telepathic link cancelled itself as the two landed on the blue grassy plains of Namek, their abilities now greater than they had ever made them before, and from what they could feel, there was trouble. "Genma, we should move, I can feel the others getting weaker." Genma nodded as he and Goku powered up and rocketed off towards the dimming power levels that were Krillin, Gohan and Vegeta. Nearby, Riku was having the time of his life. He had won the rock, paper scissors match against the rest of the Ginyu Force and he was now currently watching Gohan twitch on the ground after breaking the child's neck with his leg raised to crush him. "Not too bad, little runt, though you guys should have thought more before tangling with me. Now I think I'll bring this to an end." Before Riku could stomp on him, two fists collided with his stomach in a literal blink as both Genma and Goku punched him, sending him flying back and then rolling into the ground. Holy G-Ice Wa, TCHED in awe as one of the strongest in their team was floored like he weighed practically nothing. That was fast. Berter on the other hand looked like he got slapped in the face as those two J. Umpton had done so in a speed so fast that he could barely blink. "Gohan, are you okay?" Goku asked while he rushed over and tried to get a Senzu bean in his mouth. "Krillin, what happened to you guys?" Genma asked as he knelt by Krillin since Gohan was already being seen to. Krillin sat up with a groan as the aches still affected him and began explaining everything from landing on Namek to meeting Vegeta plus the back and forth with the Dragon Balls. "And both me and Gohan got our potentials unleashed by Guru. We ended up here and now these guys want the Dragon Balls too. Oi, you two bet. Have a bloody good explanation for ruining our fun here." G-Ice yelled at the two of them, though Vegeta remained on the ground while Goku handed him a bean too. "Because there is no one who can outclass us. I am the red magma of the Ginyu Force." G-Ice, "Yeah, you should be running for your lives when you lay your eyes on us." Berter followed up as the two brothers turned to face them. "For I am the blue hurricane of the Ginyu Force." Berter, "More like a bunch of weirdos," Genma mentioned bluntly. "Krillin, do you know where they took the Dragon Balls?" he asked seriously as he glanced backward. "Their boss took them. I think he went back to where Frieza's ship is. They have all 7 now. I'll go get them." "Genma, stay here and keep them safe," Goku yelled as he and Vegeta both flew off in the same direction. Though Goku had gone after Captain Ginyu while Vegeta decided to deviate after a few miles to go get the Dragon Balls from Frieza's ship. "Hold on, you're telling me that you're gonna face us on your own? The both of us?" G-Ice taunted him as he cracked his knuckles. "Works for me. I'll bet we can take this guy alone without even breaking a sweat even if we don't team up." Brr, Ter agreed with a snake-like smirk on his face. Genma remained serious and watched them stance up against each other before rushing at him with a quick combo of attacks that synchronized with each other, blocking each one and casually evading them even though they were considered some of Frieza's top men. G-Ice however doubled over when Berter's punch got ducked under and it hit the red member square in the nose. Berter, watch your swings, he yelled out in pain as he nursed his bruised face. Sorry but I was aiming for his face. Berter apologized as he saw Genma standing in front of them. So, you guys wouldn't happen to know what your boss is going to use the Dragon Balls for, do you? Genma asked curiously as he glanced around. Because in all honesty, we need them more you guys do. Why you don't have the right to act so casual when you're up against the Ginyu Force? Look at you, it's taking everything you have just to dodge our attacks. G-Ice taunted him with a smirk before tapping his scouter to read at Genma's power level, though what he saw had him barely able to contain his laughter, power level of 30,000. He's barely any stronger than Vegeta. Little did the two realize that Genma had been concealing his power level like Goku had been, but he wasn't going to admit it outright. And like I told Vegeta once, I don't need to be powerful to beat you too. Hen gathered up balls of lightning in his hands and started to shoot them off towards G-Ice and Berter, though since he was broadcasting his techniques, both members ended up dodging each ball and Ji-hing as they realized that they could toy with him. I think we should put him out of his misery before he embarrasses himself too much. Berter smirked as he geared himself up for the blue hurricane technique. You get ready to blast him when I knock him upward. G-Ice nodded as he gathered up energy for a crusher ball technique and heard the sounds of a clash below. That's my cue. His though. TS stumbled a little as he saw a familiar blue body shooting upward like a champagne cork. Berter then finally stopped in mid-air with a fuming look on his face. I'll make you pay for trying to copy my speed. Sorry, can't help but give myself a little challenge. Besides, it's your fault that you're not watching yourselves carefully. Genma grinned as he warned the two as he two fingers and his thumb up like he was going to snap. Gotta go find the captain. He'll beat him down for sure. G-Ice mentally calculated before suddenly powering up and shooting off to go find Ginyu. G-Ice, what are you doing? Berter yelled at the quickly shrinking member of his squad before turning to Genma. No matter the fastest in the universe can easily take you down now that I'll stop playing around. He warned Genma with a sneer. So you claim you are faster than I expected, but it looks like your brain's a little slow on the uptake. You spent all your time focused on me and not on what's around you. Genma grinned as he then pointed out the floating electrical balls around him before he snapped his fingers. Ten no Rakurai, Celestial Lightning Strike, he simply called out, as the balls erupted into bursts of lightning that caught Berter in a circlet of zaps and bombarded him with unbridled force. Berter didn't even have time to register what happened as he was struck the force of lightning from all around him, turning him into a bipedal equivalent of a roasted snake as he collapsed to the ground. Why, what are you? Genma then looked serious as he remembered seeing G-Ice and Berter on the sidelines when Gohan, Krillin and Vegeta were beaten into near-dead puddles. My name is Genma, I'm a Saiyan from Earth and I'm gonna help Goku to stop you all. He stated, coldly as he then saw Krillin and Gohan approach. Genma, what was all of that? You took him down like it was nothing. Krillin was in utter awe at seeing Genma kick butt. Well, after we got released from the hospital, we made the trip to Bulma and Dr. Briefs to get to Namek. We ended up using the gravity controls to better train in those 6 days it took to get here. But how exactly did you do that? If you set the gravity too high then it'd break your body. Gohan asked with a valid point. Well, Yajirobe gave us a ton of senzu beans so we took them when we felt like we overdid it, but also making sure we had enough in case anything happened. Genma elaborated and smiled. But now I think I might have overdone it back there. Well, you did kill him with several bolts of lightning so it was a little much. Krillin mentioned as he pointed to Berter's body. I know how to hold back, I just didn't realize how much. Genma explained as he finally decided to tell them how much the two had grown. Because according to King Kai, Saiyans can apparently grow stronger with the more times we come back from the brink. Me and Goku ended up getting super strong. How would you know that? Gohan asked. I don't like bringing this up because it feels kind of conceited, but Drive Briefs installed an energy sensor on the ship in case one of us went out of control. Right now my power level stands at 100,000. Both Krillin and Gohan were flabbergasted that Genma was able to get that high. But what about my dad? Did he get stronger too? Well, Goku was originally 8,000 when he came back to life, and because he got more damage than I did, He is currently sitting at around 120,000 now. Genma added since even though it was a steep boost, Goku was still the stronger sibling. Wow, number 1. You guys took down that big guy so easy. Hey, there he is. Goku's on his way back. Krillin cheered as he waved to the approaching Goku, however he didn't see the problem that Genma and Gohan could see and feel. It was that the Goku who had turned back to meet them was now wearing a more sinister expression and he had a scouter attached to his face with G-Ice not too far behind. The end.